I'm Robert Blight. I am Supervising Engineer of Pavement Design and Technology section at the New Jersey DOT. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 8th session of the virtual National Pavement Preservation Conference. This session is focused on training, certification, and accreditation and includes presentations by Gordy Bruhn, Neil Galehouse, Amanda Moser, and John McCabe, Chad Shive, and John Harvey. Gordy Bruhn is a concrete field engineering specialist in the Office of Materials and Road Research at Minnesota DOT. Gordy was the subject of one of 3 knowledge books developed by MNDOT called the Concrete Pavement Rehabilitation Knowledge Book, intended to pass on knowledge from his 33 years of experience. Our first speaker this afternoon is Gordy Bruhn.
Good afternoon, everybody, except maybe some people on the West Coast. My name is Gordy Bruhn. I worked for the MNDOT for 33 years. The last 10 or 12 or 10 or 11 years, I've been in the concrete engineering unit. So I'm going to start out with the knowledge book and how that process went, but we actually made a concrete pavement repair guide, which was more towards inspection. To put out the knowledge book seemed to be a little overdawning, just to put it out in the form that it was. So we did a little work to it. But starting with the knowledge book, the method was called the Method for Analyzing and Structuring Knowledge, the MASS method. This quadrant was the people who came in. We hired a person from there to come in and talk, and you talk extensively. It's pretty intense process to sit down and have someone basically pick your brain. And what I like to tell people is, if you don't, person who don't like to be asked why, it's probably not a process you're going to have fun with. But you go through it, and the final product was well worth it. Todd Neiman was also a person who did a knowledge book with MNDOT, and also Dave Linnell's. Todd his isn't online, it's for internal use only. And most knowledge books are for internal use only. We found out about it through Kraft. MNDOT. Dave, Mr. Leegard found out about it, and he proposed it through MNDOT. We had 3 candidates then. Mine is now not in its entirety, but like I said, we made a guide out of it. This is the company that came in, John Francois, better known as Jeff, which I was appreciative that he shortened his name. So when the final product is done, you go through numerous interviews, and also numerous reviews of what he has done to, make corrections if need be, which, a lot of corrections needed to be made, but once it was done, like I said, it was well worth it. So it is when he gives it to you, it's in a PowerPoint mode. Like I said, and so these are your instructions with the PowerPoint mode. You can have movies in there, text, whatever you need. So in the table of contents, the one thing that to make it run, you have to be in PowerPoint mode. So all these are clickable. So if you click on them, I'm not going to run the actual program because it's huge. I think it was over 400 slides just for mine. You can imagine how big a file that is. But all these are clickable, so I got a red box around there. So if you clicked on all the different types of repairs that MNDOT utilizes, you would bring you to a slide page like this. We also, when we decided to do the repair guide, and we also decided it was going to be more towards, just paring it down towards inspection. So a lot of information in here. Some of it was actually kind of trade secrets. So that's another reason we didn't really want to put it out in its entirely into the public eye. We break ours up into fold up repairs, type B, partial depth repairs, type C, fold up repairs, and they really don't mean anything, the letter designation. So if you have a type CDHV, that's just our type C repair. It's doweled and it's for a high volume roadway. So if we clicked on that next button, CDHV, it would start taking you through the process of how to do the fold up repairs. So there's many clickable things within, even jumping from slide to slide. Your next slide, remove concrete, place dowel bars, basically drill and grout, furnish and place concrete, saw and seal the joints. So if we go ahead and click on that within the PowerPoint, place in the dowel bars, it would show you how they drill in the dowel bars on the fold up repairs. Gives you some nice hints of what to look for as far as inspection. I will tell people this right here, if you're not following this basic method for anchoring dowels or rebar, you have to fill the back of the hole, then they push the bar in, fill in the grout or epoxy, whatever the case may be, around the bar. You just can't dip and stick these bars. It don't work, and we found that out the hard way. So then it would come back round. We did the dowel bars, furnish and place the concrete. Okay, then it's going to show you in there, show you some extra reinforcement that we put in at the time we do the concrete pours. I'm going through these pretty quick because this is just the basic format that it went through. I mean, and then it came back around, and then you could click on whatever you wanted at that point if you wanted to go into partial depth repairs. So like I said, it works real well, but it was more information than what we wanted to put out. So we kind of pared it down, came up with the concrete repair guide. This is web-based now, so this is online. And the other problem we had was it's probably wouldn't have converted well into a web-based presentation. So we made it more linear, not a lot of clicking to go the guide here. So you got the different kinds of repairs. If we clicked on that, it'd tell us our different repairs. Now, we had somebody review this, and it's just kind of an obvious thing, type A repair. Most people don't know what a type A repair is, but I know it's a saw and seal. So, just some simple reviews that, we already know we need to make some changes to make it better. But the type B repairs are partial depth, type C repairs are full depth repairs, dowel bar retrofits, which we learned about yesterday, and concrete grinding. So if we choose one, looks like we're going to choose the partial depth repairs. It's going to come in, give you a lot more detail, where they're used, when they should be used. You can also go in and see the actual detail boilerplate that we put out for these repairs. But as you can see, it's more of a linear process. They got the repair detail, that would be the boilerplate. But if we wanted to go in and click on the remove concrete, you got several different ways we remove, but mainly the Minnesota method is we use a grinder. This is a Cat 105. This was another, I'm not sure what kind of machine this one, these guys come out of Iowa, but we also have videos in there. So you can see when they mill with these type of teeth, what it looks like. This is the final after they're done grinding it. And then after they blow it out with get the removal debris out of there. So any of the hourglasses, you can click on and give you a lot better view of the actual picture. And again, some helpful hints. We're pretty rare on the way we do our partial depth repairs. We actually have a tapered edge along 30 to 60 degrees. It works well for us. It is a little more tricky to keep the concrete stuck, but once it is stuck, it really works well. And again, we can tell you, some of this was a drilled core, and we explain why this core actually failed. Real irregular taper, real shallow taper. It should be more 30 to 60 degrees. Shouldn't feather out. This half inch looks like it's going up real slow. So we can tell people, what to look for and why this one likely failed. The guide was, a how-to guide, so it was a lot of heavy in an inspection. So we have videos of the inspection, what we're looking for after they're done shipping out and grinding. We really want to see a solid concrete under there. Partial depth repairs get a bad rap, and the reason is they're used where they're not supposed to be used. They're used where there's no solid concrete underneath them anymore. That's not a partial depth repair. This is a partial depth repair right here. You're not seeing grade. We'll go through, what to cut. You need to cut the dowel bars if the end is sticking out. The concept is the same as a dowel bar retrofit. We put the expansion caps on here. So if this joint is opened up and we pour this solid and then the joint wants to close, your partial depth repair is pretty much doomed at that point. Misplaced steel, it happens. This is a transverse contraction joint, so it's it shows you what to cut them off. I got them painted pink here. It's probably a little hard to see. You know, the dowel bars, we recommend it, even if the ends aren't, we like to cut the center of them. And that way we get, we can put our expansion material between there a lot easier. That's the main reason, because if, like I said, if we got these joints open and we pour this back solid, what's going to give that patch, you know, the bonding of the patch is going to give. So you really need to get some separation on them contraction joints between the two sides. Again, more movies, you know, as far as looking, the button here, but there's a piece of steel across the contraction joint, you know, reinforcing steel, and that's the main reason why this went bad. You know, it's at the time of construction, which this is 35-year-old pavement. They got a tie bar that was supposed to be across this joint in the contraction joint. What we do, we like to work closely with the chipping crew, you know, so we can go through and check our partialed up repairs. What I like to say is if they've moved on, this repair is ready to go for sandblasting. We require sandblasting or water blasting, pressure washer. I haven't seen a pressure washer. I understand some cities are doing it and having real good luck with it. If you know anyone that's doing pressure washer prep instead of sandblasting, get a hold of me. I'd like to talk to you. But again, more on the inspection. So this was my method. There's probably many more methods, but if I checked this repair, I checked it. And then if I measured it for pavement, I just cross-checked it. So it's a little helpful hints for the inspectors. You know, I'm not telling them how to do it, just the way I did it. And that's the way I liked it. Sandblasting, like I said, if you're not sandblasting your partial up repairs or water blasting them without 3,000 PSI plus, it's just going to be hard to make them stick. I know we don't care much for this dust, but in the long run, a little bit of dust keeps some repairs where they're supposed to be, keeps people safe. If we have a stuck repair, that's the bottom line. You know, if you're out there throwing bituminous out there every 2 weeks, you know, that's not safe. So we want these to work. Then we come through and we do a final cleaning. It's either pressurized, compressed air, I should say, compressed air here. And a lot of times just after the sandblast, we just use a leaf blower. You know, it's just some grit in the bottom. You know, they're nice and clean, nice and white and clean. So we just use the sandblast or the leaf blower, blow them out. This guy also does the compression relief when they come back through. Pretty simple, but you know, we recommend using duct tape if your dowel bars are exposed right here. For obvious reasons, we don't want to use bond breaker or an oil on them dowel bars, because we want our obviously no oil in our repair where we're trying to stick our patch mix to. So this is somewhat unique to Minnesota, as I understand it. We actually do inserts. This is actually bituminous right here. So this is a piece of bituminous fiber expansion material. Earlier I talked about cutting that piece of bar or the dowel bar. That's just so you can have fold up putting this in here, because like I said, if this joint's open and any of this concrete is touching, you know, you're going to get a compression spall. It's just going to fail your repair. As you can see, this one, you actually try and form fit it to the repair. We also use cardboard. The reason for the cardboard is simple. We just want our repair to stick to the substrate we want it to stick to. We don't want it sticking to the bituminous, right? We want it to stick to this outside. So we put a little bit of bituminous or the wax coated cardboard out there. We also reestablish joints with wax coated cardboard. When we pour this back, this had a longitudinal crack. We'll restore our joints with a piece of cardboard. I don't know if you can see it, but that's actually what's going on right here. They had a longitudinal crack, came out to the transverse and stopped. And so we fixed must have had a little bit of deterioration around that. So when we put the joint back in, we just put it right back in with cardboard, come and saw and seal it. So this was a random crack, you know, low volume road to repair a random crack. We call this a B3. They just sit down and mill this out. As you can see, they're using their wax coated cardboard to reestablish that transverse and longitudinal. You know, it's got to have a guy standing there though, holding it upright as you backfill. Our concrete is a 3018. It's actually a MNDOT mix design. But there is a company that actually makes a bag mix of it to make the 3,000 pound, or you can use a mobile mixer and mix your own. We go through the testing regimen. The biggest thing right here is we say take the slump test 5 minutes. It's a high cement mix, 835 pounds, I believe it is, per yard. So we allow that to hydrate for 5 minutes, and we require 1 inch slump or less. That's pretty much our only way that we can keep track of the water, and we're pretty strict on that 1 inch. Before we do place our backfill, we do a cement grout. We sand, cement, and water. They put it on immediately ahead of the concrete. You can see the concrete's ready to go here. If this whitens at all, they have to re-sandblast it and come back and re-backfill at a later time. We do allow water bonding if the contractors choose to. We did a job with the water bonding and it worked very, very well. I think the contractors just kind of decided, well, we have to make it for another step later on, which I'll show you. So most of them are still using the bonding grout substrate prep before we backfill them. So then we backfill. Like I said, if this dries out, we have to re-sandblast it. And backing up a step, if we sandblast these repairs before we backfill them and it rains, we also require re-sandblasting just if they get rained on. We have a step because we taper our edges. We show the bonding grout at the surface here. It's just a sacrificial layer because obviously this is a thinned up section going to dry out fast, and we feel that's a little extra protection for that, along with the cure compound. Cure compound has to be on within 10 minutes or 50% monetary adjustment. It's really important. This is one thing I've never had a contractor, I've never had to tell them to put it on fast. They know they have to get it on there to get a successful repair and not get excessive shrinkage. And also part of our repairs, they have to saw and seal the repair as part of the repair. We'll go through and show you how to measure them, our method of measurement. This one's just a regular shape, showing the average 2 ends times the length. The BA repair is an area measurement. And then it would go on to our next repair. Occasionally we get the bottom falls out. This is where I'm talking about. We lose a lot of life if you start seeing the bottom of the repair or the grade. It's hard to stick a repair on a vertical edge like this. It's just not, concrete's not made to be in tension like that. So if you got a lot of this, you should start thinking about some fold up repairs. And we're going to save the questions for the end. Thank you for listening. That guide is online. If you want some more information about the knowledge book, I'd be happy to answer that, or anything about the concrete guide at the end. Thank you.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.